Hello everybody, this is Mariska for Whiff of Joy, and I'm going to do a video tutorial. I'm going to try to do a video tutorial on my 3D images, on how I do them. This is going to be my first video tutorial, so don't hate me if everything goes wrong. I'm using my picture camera because my video camera died on me, and even though I thought it was fixed, it still isn't. So I hope everything's going to work out. It's probably not going to be one video, but you'll see that when you get to the page. Let's just start and we'll see what happens. As you can see, I've already stamped the image several times. Because I'm going to cut parts out. The stamped images don't have to be perfect. Normally you'd want a perfect impression. But like on this impression, the shoe isn't perfect, no problem. Just not going to use that one on this image. Here I just, not all the cards went out, had the perfect impression, so I just stamped those on this edge of the paper. Just much easier than with normal stamping. The rest is going to be much more time consuming, of course. Don't mind my English, by the way, because my typing is quite okay, I think, but my talking, not always. As you can see, I've already pre-colored everything with my Copic markers. What I do is I just think how many layers I want, which layer I want on top of which layer. So in this case I want the face, and there's a little piece behind his ear. I already colored that on the face image. I want the head as a layer on top of that. So I'm not going to color the head in the same stamped impression as I've colored the face, because that won't work when you cut it. It's going to be much too difficult. So all the pieces I've colored are pieces that are not going to be touching each other. Here I've got the legging colored, and the legging is going to be, on top of the legging is going to be the coat, but the coat has been colored in a different impression. The shoes, same story. On top of the shoes is going to be this little, I don't know, decoration thingy that's been colored here. So it's just a little bit of puzzling where on which image you want to color which part, and you get the hang of it when you do it as often as I do. What I do next is, I haven't done a video on how I color, because there are so many videos out there on how to color with Copic markers, and so many people are much better at it than I am. So that's not my specialty, and I'm not going to do a tutorial on that one. It's just a 3D here. What I do next is I'm going to cut the little parts out. In this case it's going to be the top layer, so there's not going to be anything above this. So I'm just going to cut out this little man's head. Oh, this is taking some getting used to, because normally the paper is right under my eyes. And now I have to take into consideration that you might want to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm not going to show you how I got all the pieces, because I'm, like I've said before on my own blog, I'm probably one of the slowest crafters around. It takes me hours and hours and hours and hours to create a card. And that's of course also because I always do layers, but then the things I do don't go very slow either, very quickly either. And I can't talk and think at the same time, so I'll just keep my mouth shut for now. Just try to cut as close to the lines as possible. Check in the meantime if everything's getting on camera. And now there's also this little part in the head. There's a cut, and I think that in that cut you see the skin color come through. So what I'm doing is I'm also cutting this away. Okay. So this is the little head. What I do next to anything I cut is, and you may think I'm crazy, I take, I use this is a Memento jewel marker. I take the big marker part, sorry for my English again, and what I do is, these edges are white now because of course the paper is white. The paper I use, by the way, is Pure Luxury Cardstock by Gina K. This is white. I don't want it to be white because in the end, when everything's finished, that's not going to look very good. So what I always do is I take my marker and I just make sure that all of the edges are nice and black. And you may think, she's crazy. You're probably right, but I've got a tutorial done on somewhere on my blog. If you go to my personal blog and you check out the tutorials I've done there, there's a little list of tabs, and if you go to the tutorials, there's a very old and not so good tutorial, not at all the way I work nowadays, but what I did back then was already do this black coloring of the edges, and I show you the difference between doing coloring the edges black and not coloring the edges black, and in the end the difference is big, especially for a perfectionist as I am. So this is the head. What I do then is I take, this is from Pergamano. Pergamano is another type of crafts, I guess. I've never done it, but I use this mat. There's a hard side and a cushion side. I use the cushion side. I put my image down with the colored side down to the mat. I have these pen-like things, also from Pergamano, with little bulbs on the edge. I take the one that I think is perfect for what I'm going to do, and I make them come to life, I guess, by just doing circles over this little piece of paper. And what happens is, it isn't flat anymore. It's a little, it's really 3D. I don't know if you can see it like this, but that's what happens. I'm just going to do the face now, because this is already 8 minutes, I see. Way too much talking and way too slow crafting, I guess. This is, by the way, where I clean my marker when I color and use different colors to each other. So I'm going to try and do it quicker, but I know I can't. What I do when, this is the bottom layer, of course. The head is the top layer, this is the bottom layer. And I'm going to keep the head on